This is a Play Your Way network presentation. Get the full story at playlifeyourway.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are on. We are live.
Comics, movies,
we are back.
Games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7. 3 champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derek will show you how to do it. The Player Way.
Hey. Yes, absolutely. It's on once again. Patron once again. This is your boy BK, the resident DJ, helping you guys curate your media.
The Player Way.
And I am back. This is a deep dive, The Player Way. A little bit more energy than we usually have on a deep dive. And the reason being is because I have my co-captain, Derek.
That's me. And I am corrupting any systems. I've even infiltrated the deep dive. Somehow they let me on this thing. So I don't even know how this is going to go. But I'm sure the resident DJ will keep me in line.
Oh, we didn't let you on. You made it happen. You made sure that you got yourself on the situation. Let's just drop some bombs for this man right now. That's right. It's real official right now. It's real official. It's real official. All right. So the reason why we decided to go online is Derek and I were having a conversation. It was kind of, and it's also the reason why it's a deep dive, is it kind of evolved from our previous episode where we were talking about the top 5 films of 2017. And you're kind of in this place this time of year where you've gone to the movies, you've spent that money up, and now you're in a situation where you don't know what to watch because you're at home, you're in pajamas, and you're just kind of chilling. If we don't help you curate your media the Player Way, you're just going to be bored. You're just going to be bored to death. So Derek and I were talking about some crazy ideas of things that would be amazing to watch because we are already watching these things. Isn't that right, D?
That's right, man. You already know, man. Well, I'm still waiting to just endorse us as much traffic as we've directed there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
cut that.
Yes. They come up off of it. Disney didn't buy us out yet. You know what I'm saying?
You got quite a point there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you guys the top 6 things that you should be looking out for. I have 5 things on my list. I'm sure, D, I could throw like a softball at you and you could kind of catch it and come up with something.
Absolutely. And one of the most common places I like to scour in Netflix, I like to check their new releases and then recently added, because recently added sometimes has some things that doesn't necessarily mean it's new, but it might be new to Netflix. You know what I'm saying? It's not new, but it's new to me.
Absolutely. And as my true co-captain, it's the reason why we are co-captains, because I didn't have a number 6 to start the countdown with, but he threw it there because recently added on Netflix this weekend will be the new Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy routines. He was only supposed to have one for the end of the year, but he ended up doing 2 of those things, man. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's Derek. That's all for you. It's all for you, man.
Hey, I'm excited, man, because Dave Chappelle, he's an icon. And I was reminded of my age within the past few weeks in which I mentioned Dave Chappelle. And then the 22-year-old that I was speaking with, he just looked blankly at me as if like he had no clue who Dave Chappelle was. And I was like, surely this is a joke. He's jesting, right? No, guy had no clue who Dave Chappelle was. And it made me sad. It made me upset that these people group me with millennials when some 22-year-old doesn't know who Dave Chappelle is. You know what I mean? Man. Like, get me out of that group, man.
Dave Chappelle is one of those guys where while he's not making nearly as much money as Kevin Hart is at the moment, he's not the new kid on the block. No one really cares what Kevin Hart has to say on the economy or on the government. Sure, he's a great time. He's a fun guy to watch. I get my mouth tore out every time I watch Kevin Hart. Absolutely, absolutely. A little bit.
He's such a fun guy.
Absolutely, so much. So, but in the end, the important thing about Dave Chappelle is the limited seasons. He was only on TV for 2 seasons, and yet his social dynamic, his commentary on what we got going on in our economy and our society, within our government, the bureaucracy of it all, it's very relevant, you know. Very. So absolutely, you know,
it's one of those rare comics, because I say rare comics, just those ones that as you stated, you actually value his opinion. Like George Carlin, you wanted to hear what he had to say.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Richard Pryor, you wanted to hear what he had to say about the system. Nothing against Kevin Hart, but I want to hear Kevin Hart tell me a funny story. I don't necessarily want to hear what he has to say about the government situation, because I won't take it serious.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Netflix, number 6, it's on Netflix well, it won't be right now. It'll be this weekend when it goes on Netflix. It's actually not 1, but 2 series, 2 parts of like a 4-part series that they had going on there. So that will be going on there. So absolutely go on there, and you will be doing your Netflix
the player way.
So that's number 6, Dave Chappelle. Number 5 is going to be Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. Okay.
Yeah, Jumanji is Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, to be exact. It's one of those films that no one thought was going to be all that great. And Rachel and I went to go see, what did we go see? Okay, so we went to go see Pitch Perfect 3, and we went to see that at the theater, and there was an interesting situation that happened at the theater. So we go into the theater, and it's James and Rachel and I. Shout out to homeboy James, and Rachel as well. And what we ended up doing is, while we were standing in line for the film, there was this smell we kept smelling. And back in the day, I used to pop popcorn at a facility I used to work at. So I know the smell of when you let the popcorn stay in there a little too long. And I specifically said they need to get that kid off the popcorn. Fast forward to in the theater. We get into the theater. We're in there. We watched maybe the first 5 minutes of the film, and the projector dies. So I'm sitting in the theater, and I'm like, I get up. No one in the theater moves. It's like pitch black in there. I get up, and I go, I scream at everybody in the theater. Oh, no. You guys stay seated. I got this under control. Everybody busts out laughing. I walked out.
I love being that guy in the theater. I love being that guy, because no one will ever do anything.
People are lemmings. They will just sit there the whole time and say, I guess they'll figure it out.
Somebody
No, it is not part of the normal course of action for the projector to die in the middle of the movie. And so James and I, being audiovisual guys, we knew what was going on already. So we went out. I went out to the ticket lady while James stayed with Rachel. I told him what happened. James came back. We met each other as I was going back to the theater. He was like, they're still sitting down. I was like, I know. So went in there. I said, hey, they're on their way back to fix it. They fix it, get it back up to where it goes. We watch the movie. Fast forward to, we literally are in the last third of the film, and the fire alarm goes off in the middle of the movie. Lights come on, go out, and I look at the kid who I said, I told you to get the kid off the popcorn. And we walked out. And so we ended up not finishing the movie. So we went back to the theater later in the week to finish the film, because my wife, she loves the Pitch Perfect stuff. She's totally a Glee Club type of person. And it was sold out. So we ended up deciding we were going to watch Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Sold out. Every showing, there were 2 showings at the time. Both of them sold out. We went to another theater. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, sold out again. So I'm telling you, Jumanji is literally killing it in the box office. So
it's doing pretty well. You know what I mean? It's as you say, it's that perfect lull movie right now. And all the big hitters have
mad quiet. It is mad quiet out there right now.
It's honestly, if somebody wanted, now's when The Punisher could have come out on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yes, right now would have been the perfect time.
Right now.
Exactly. So
on a side note, since we were talking about our age group, man, have you seen, or heard about that docuseries, The Toys That Made Us on Netflix?
No, I have not heard about that. Honorable mention?
It specifically has each episode 45 minutes. One of them goes over all Star Wars toys. One of them goes over Barbies, then He-Man and G.I. Joe. So right in our age group and a little bit older. Transform. To where it just kind of shows how they really became that pop culture current thing. So it definitely is an honorable mention, especially if you're like I said, I'm not going to claim that millennial brand, but if you were born in the 80s and raised in the 60s like we were, then you would have appreciated the hand-me-down toys that you found left at the school. Absolutely. Lost and found. Bro,
that's what's up, bro. And thank you for doing the honorable mention.
The player way.
Absolutely, man. That's what's up. All right, so Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is number 5. Number 6 is, as we said before, Dave Chappelle. All right, so going on to number 3. If you are, we've mentioned some stuff. Well, I'll go ahead and go with this as number 4. Number 4. This would be Pitch Perfect 3. We just got through talking about that.
Okay.
It's a really good.
How was it? It
was actually.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not
relatively funny.
I'm not a musical guy, but I got roped into Pitch Perfect 2 one time. And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't stop watching it. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's pretty good. Rebel Wilson does a really good job in it. This one also has DJ Khaled in it. It also has Trinidad James in it as well. So it's got some noticeable people in it. In this one, they're actually competing against people who actually can use instruments and stuff. So it's for what it is. If you need something to take your kids, your older kids, or your girl out to, this is definitely doing it.
The player way.
Yeah, so those are 3 films. Those are 3 opportunities right there that are good, but we got you covered when it comes to the testosterone thing. For our number 3 pick, it's going to be the USC 219 event with Chris Cyborg going toe-to-toe with number 2 in the division, Holly Holm. This is going to be a guaranteed. In my opinion, I'm predicting Chris Cyborg is going to knock a bitch out. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, Chris Cyborg. Have you ever seen Chris Cyborg fight?
Bro, every fight of his is a highlight reel. It's a highlight reel.
Of hers.
What?
Yes, absolutely. Chris Cyborg, I know she's kind of manly.
Did you bear trap me? Did you bear trap me a little bit?
I did bear trap you.
I don't care. I'll stand by it. I thought you were talking about Christopher. Oh, you meant yeah. Every fight of hers is like a highlight reel.
That's awesome.
That's everyone in between.
Go hit you with a little bit of that right there.
Hey, they're singing the song of my people. All right, let them sing.
That's good, man. I appreciate the comedy. You gave us something to laugh at just a second ago. You corrupted the system once again. It's okay. A lot of people like to do that. You know, if you're that guy or lady who's listening to this podcast and you don't know much about UFC either, you don't have to fake it. You could just listen to us. We got you covered, okay? We got you covered like a Jimmy hat.
The player way.
All right. So here's all you need to know. Chris Cyborg from Brazil. She is the undisputed women's featherweight title champ. They essentially created this division for her. She is the biggest, baddest woman on the planet. She is the woman that everyone thought Ronda Rousey is. So Chris Cyborg is doing it. She is going against Holly Holm. I don't expect Holly Holm. Holly Holm, if you don't remember, is the lady who took care of I just said her name. Of Ronda Rousey. She's the lady who put a nail in that coffin, aka the preacher's daughter. 11-3 record versus the 18-1 record of Chris Cyborg. So yeah, main event there. I'm not gonna buy the pay-per-view. I'm gonna either go to Hooters or Buffalo Wild Wings and watch this. But it's a great opportunity to get out this weekend and save that money indeed. And while you got that, we got Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Enson Barbosa. That's going to be a barn burner right there for sure. And then we also a notable fight on there, Carlos Condit versus Neil Magny. So 3 very good fights there, solid. And then in the prelims on FS1, got a few things there as well, so you can watch those free fights before you go out of there and spend your money on some wings and things. So there you go. So again, number 6 is going to be Dave Chappelle specials on Netflix. Number 5 is going to be Jumanji. Number 4 is Pitch Perfect 3. And number 3 is UFC. Woo! We doing it, man. We doing it the Playway, man. We doing so much, man. We doing so much. So much, man. You know, it's almost, you would think it would be almost time to shut it down, but it is not time to shut it down. We got other things coming up, okay?
Now there is something that is releasing tomorrow that I've been waiting for this season to come out because I fell in love with the first 3.
Another honorable mention?
And another honorable mention. And this one, some people may say all mirrors matter, but this Black Mirror is what matters to me. I'm ready for season 4. It is dropping tomorrow, the 29th. So get ready. That's definitely something that can fill your time. Absolutely. In between this top 6. So that's definitely going to be something to fill in your time right there.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. We had to give you applause on that one. That's what's up, bro. I personally love Black Mirror. It is the new school Twilight Zone. A lot of people like to claim that title, but Black Mirror is doing it big time. Amazing stories. And what I love about that one is this time of year where you don't have much going on and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time. You just want to jump in. Black Mirror's got you covered. If there is
pick any episode.
There you go.
It doesn't matter.
Take it, bro. Take it. Right. Tell them what it's up.
You can pick any episode, seasons 1, 2, or 3. Watch them in whatever order you want. Now, the OCD part of me would not appreciate you doing that because you just can't do that, but you can on Black Mirror. It doesn't matter what episode you go pick. I assure you, you're going to get drawn in. And these are very intricate stories. Now, there is an overall theme of the series. However, you don't need any continuity in this. Any episode you watch, you're going to be drawn in. And I still want to say my favorite episode to date is Playtest. That one, I want that high. You know what I mean? I want that high. The 0.00, bro, don't even. But season 4, the long awaited, because this is not an every year a new season comes out type of show. No. This has been over the course of the past 6 years, and we just now get in the 4th season. So,
and it also has a different type of release schedule because it originally came from over here from the UK.
That's right.
But I think it's now produced here now. I want to say is that it ended up getting bought and produced elsewhere because you do see a difference in production quality and even
production value, one might say.
Yes, exactly. I'll give you that one.
Nice.
All right. So moving along, number 2. Now this one again, this is another film I actually saw this week with my wife Rachel. It's a film that had a very limited release in December. We actually touched on it a little bit early December, but it is I, Tonya. It is a film starring Margot Robbie. If you don't remember who she is just by her name, Wolf of Wall Street, the scrumptious female in the opening epilogue and throughout the film. It's also Harley Quinn. But yeah, she's an amazing actress. And it's really interesting because I, Tonya, she plays Tonya Harding. And they play out literally the whole Winter Olympics debacle between her and Nancy Kerrigan in the early 90s, which was basically a pre-OJ thing. Like this would have been still talked about longer and even more relevant to this day if OJ never happened. Literally, the thing that stopped the news cycle on this thing was OJ Simpson. So, and I'm sure Tonya Harding is very happy that this.
Oh, you're just gonna stop at beating white bitches? Well, I got something for you.
Exactly. Like an old black dude. You said that like an old black dude. It's like that ain't how you clean the greens. Let me show you how to clean some greens. Exactly. Like,
because it is about an old black dude. Because that black dude is old now. But man, this was a shocking news story. Yeah, like this was a stop the presses. Everybody was talking about it.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why it is a shocking news story and why it's immensely relevant and why you need to see this film. There was a period of time where we all were watching the Winter Olympics. When's the last time you watched the Winter Olympics ever? Other than curling,
I watched the advertisement.
Other than curling,
and then a few, yeah,
like the only
that's about it.
Remember about it, but I'm telling you, like when Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan, Oksana Bayou,
Scott Hamilton.
I'm telling
you,
why you better go ahead and speak that thing.
What would Brian Boitano do?
Player way.
Boy, Scott Hamilton, Katarina Vitt. Boy, I'm telling you, man, it was on and smanging. I'm telling you, it was that rivalry and all of that was so big that was the period of time where they decided right around that 1989, 1991 period is when they decided to go to doing a every 2 years on the Winter Olympics versus every 4 years. Because before Tanya Harding got in it, it was every 4 years. But Tanya Harding, the people don't remember, if it wasn't for her hitting Nancy Kerrigan in the leg, she would have been just as big as anyone else by now. Like people would have remembered that she was the first person to ever do a triple Lutz. Like no one ever did that before her. No woman had ever done that before. So she was the woman who did that. And this film does a great job of reminding you of who she is, like, and what she accomplished.
She was the upper echelon of female athletes at the time.
She was.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Very good point. But the thing that held her back was that she was, for the lack of a better term, she was kind of like trailer park trash. And so, in a world where they expect you to be elegant and everything, she was not.
In a world where they want you to be Nancy Kerrigan. They wanted you to be Nancy Kerrigan. You know, and she was Tanya Harding. You know, she was Tanya Harding.
And this movie is hilarious at times, and hilarious not because they're trying to make it funny. And this goes to what makes a great film. You know, a lot of these days, there's this brand of injecting humor in a situation where there is no humor. But what they do a really good job of is the preposterousness of the situation. You know, it's just a preposterous situation. Like how her mom treats her, it is so gruesome and it's so fucking mean, but it is hilarious to see it play out. Like if you saw it in person, you would be like it's not funny, and I'm gonna walk outside and laugh.
I'm just gonna look this way.
Like
I don't want to laugh right now, so I don't want the kid to think that this is exactly accessible.
Imagine being out at North Park Center, okay, or
I'm already laughing because you said North Park.
Here's a better one. Imagine being out at the Galleria, all right, out of the Galleria, and down at the ice skating, and you taking your kids out there to ice skate, and you see this lady in a big ass dirty coat with Coke bottle glasses and a lit cigarette, and just walks out on the ice with regular shoes and stands next to her child until she gets attention. And then once her child goes out there and skate, and by the way, this child is only 3 years old, and the lady's like, she's too young to be skating. She's like, no, let her go skate. And she stands out there and smokes her cigarettes, puts one out, starts another one, and just smoking out in the middle of ice with regular shoes on.
Dude, and this is in the 70s. This is in the 70s.
Bro. You know what I mean? Or like the same little girl is ready to go pee, and her mom is like, I paid too much money for these lessons. You're going to finish this lesson. The girl pees her leg and goes right in the middle of the ice and goes back out and skates. That is what happens in this film. You're like, oh my God. Like it really happened. These things really happen. And there's times in the film where characters are like, that never really happened. And then they show the scene where it happened. Like, yes, all these things really happened. And at the very end, the hallmark of any major based on a true story film is they show a newsreel at the very end of everything that happened. So you can, the legitness of it. So this film had a limited release. It's an independent film.
You got me so hyped to watch it. Even before this came out, you had me hyped to watch this.
I'm usually
after seeing the trailer for this one, it's dude. Like
it's even
this before social media, well before 2 decades before social media would have saturated, because we're so saturated.
It is
with media. That's why we're here to help you curate it the player way. That's why we're curating it.
You're curating it what?
But the player way.
Absolutely.
The only way. You already know.
Absolutely.
So this would have been the biggest news story. Like your Facebook timelines would have been full. Your Twitter feeds would have been full. Oh my God, this would be like LeBron James hitting Steph Curry in the legs before the Final Final Four, whatever, NBA championship.
Forget that. Taking a step further, I love that you use Steph Curry.
Actually, I meant to say probably Kevin Durant.
No. I like this better. If Steph Curry's wife was accused of hitting LeBron James in the leg, and Steph Curry said, "I ain't know nothing about it."
Yes,
that's like, what this is.
That would be the news story. Oh, that for real? Right before Game 7, you don't know nothing? Nah, man. Clang, clang, clang. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, dude.
Like, people don't realize, just like, it gets buried under, archives and newspapers and time. But this was a huge news story. Like, this was the big deal. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Giselle? Can you imagine Giselle beating Peyton Manning's knees for the Super Bowl?
It's well done. It's well filmed. It's already grossed $1.2 million in theaters, and it has not even been released on a wide release. To put that in perspective, Atlanta is only playing it at one theater. And it's it's like a 4-theater cinema. So like not even like one of the major places in Atlanta. So I don't even know, is it playing in Dallas?
Yeah, it's playing, but it's like at the Angelica. Like, okay. I think that's it.
There you go. So like at one theater in like maybe 10 cities, and it's already making $1.2 million. So that puts it in perspective for you. So I, Tonya is number 2, and then It Was Time. Number 1 on our list, number 1 on the list for things that you can binge watch before the end of 2017, heading into 2018. And it is Bright. Will Smith starred Bright.
It is.
I know a lot of y'all didn't expect to see that. Derek, give us a little taste. Give us a little taste.
I also want to give my co-captain here his props on a very interesting take on Bright. He actually has a very good excerpt, and you can find that, of course, at playerwaypodcast.com, playlifeyourway.com. You can figure it out. You can get there. Follow all the hashtags that are on my Facebook, his Facebook, Twitter. You can find us there. But this movie, if, as you perfectly stated, if you can get past the fantastical setting and quote unquote real life applications,
the premise,
if you just exactly the fantasy premise, and that's what I appreciated about it. They just treated it as, look, this is just real life because this is our real life. We don't, like, some people these days are so used to movies spelling out every aspect of every single plot of every single character when we don't need it. But on something like this, that would have ruined the movie. I don't need the backstory on the fairies. I don't need a backstory on the orcs. I don't need a backstory on the elves. I need enough as a hot points. Just
they exist.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. Just like in this day and age, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you're all right with me walking down this line, the whole race and color issue, does every black person need to go down the entire ancestry of what happened to black people? Or do you just know, don't say this word and don't call me boy? Simple as that. That's all you need to know. And that's just what happened. I can mention the 60s. I can mention the civil rights movies, and you already know. You don't need a backstory because you already know. It's just history. That's how this movie treats it. Woo. It's already history. We already know what's going on. We don't need to break it down for you. This guy is the first orc on the police force, and orcs are looked down. They're scum of the earth.
Woo!
Scum of the earth.
Scum up the earth.
Oh man. Shout out to Rob Zombie. Thank you for my theme song back in high school.
Absolutely, man.
But man, this was very gritty. You could feel I felt the end of watch vibes. Definitely. I mean, it's the same director. It had that grittiness where you're like, they're in the shootout in the street, and I feel like I'm getting shot at too. Like, I'm worried. I need to hide. And just their dialogue, their interaction, their dichotomy was accurate. Joel is, I think he's a very underrated actor. I think Joel is what
Joel Egerton.
Yeah. I think Joel is what they wanted Sam Worthington to be. But
Absolutely.
Joel actually is that guy, but he doesn't have the same agent.
I think Joel Egerton does an amazing job. He disappears into this character. This character feels tangible. They feel real. And you believe that the things that he's concerned about, like the opening scene of the film, is there's this moment where he arrives at Will Smith's character's house, and he's like parked on the lawn because he is an orc, and while he understands the conventions of being proper, he's more imitating them than understanding them. So like he knows he needs to park the car, but he doesn't understand that. Like, well, I'll take it back.
He treated it. He was more familiar than he needed to be.
Yes, like not only because what it was is his lawn. Will Smith's character's lawn had like this fertilizer on it, but the orc knew from the smell of it that it was human feces, so he didn't mind parking on his lawn because it was literally shit. So he was like, so he was in a situation where Will Smith's like, "Why are you parked on my lawn?" He's like, I'm trying to grow grass here. And he's like, you're not going to be able to grow grass with this shit. You know, and he's like, well, why not? I paid $400 for this cow feces. And he's like, this is not cow feces, it's humans. You know, so it's like one of those things where the orc, you can really understand what it's like to be an orc. It feels like one of the orcs from Lord of the Rings, which is hard to do because it's a completely different franchise, but it feels like that same orc,
in this day and age. Yes.
In this day and age. So that aspect was great. What I didn't like about the film was Will Smith. Will Smith, while he does an okay job, when you have someone who's doing a great job like Joel Edgerton, you know,
he's overshadowed by the overacting of Will Smith's character.
I would say not even that. I would say Egerton does a much better job than him. I think Will Smith doesn't have the ability. I think that Will Smith doesn't. He doesn't have an edge. Like Will Smith, the reason why we don't buy Will Smith as a guy with edge, I'll take it back. Will Smith was the black guy with edge back in the 90s when white people didn't want to rap. Like before the Cash Me Outside girl came out, before John B started singing Someone to Love with Babyface, before Eminem came out, you know, white dudes weren't edgy, you know, so like black dudes just being around was edgy.
Was enough.
Like, yeah, and like, you know, he was a rapper, but people weren't really listening to him. Like black people were listening to him and young white people were, but like older white people who write the checks and who take you to the movies and what they were cool with you watching, that was as black as they would be okay with. Like, okay, I'm okay with that level of black.
Exactly.
But no more, I don't want my coffee any darker than that. And then Idris Elba's came out and other black guys who, you know, Wesley Snipes became a lot more. He did Blade and other more edgy things. Childish Gambino, a guy who can do NBC and Community.
Ice Cube could have done this.
Ice Cube, like all of these guys who they can play nice on film, but then they got hardcore rapping behind them. So they have street cred and they're just dangerous enough to be sexy by girls who don't want to tell their dads that they find them sexy. Will Smith is old. He's old, so he's not attractive to young people or young females. 2, he's very married, so he's not a sex symbol anymore. 3, he is not nearly edgy enough, no matter how many fucks he wants to put inside the movie. And 4, he's past his prime, you know, and so all of that comes into
this type of movie was not a Will Smith.
Like have a black guy to lead it. A quarter black would have been great, like Vin Diesel. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Vin Diesel, I think, would have been really good. I think this was his comeback film. In my opinion, I think Vin Diesel has been doing a great job within his franchise of Fast.
Would you have put Terrence Howard as this?
No, Terrence Howard is.
Come on, man! You can't be shooting at me, dog.
No, Terrence Howard. Too much. Terrence Howard has to stay in his pocket. Gotcha. And that's out of his element. Don Cheadle wouldn't have been great for this, and therefore Will Smith is not great for this. Don Cheadle has a certain I'm not in the hood anymore-ness that Will Smith has. And so we expect this guy who's a cop from the hood. No, put Denzel in there.
The guy that he was talking to at the beginning about getting off his lawn. That actor should have played. He would have.
Yes, that guy would have been perfect. Sticky Fingers would have been great. You know,
right?
You know, just Tretch would have been great
because there was a lot of actors in this that were fairly like decent size. I mean, they had what's his name, Happy Anderson. He was in Mindhunter. And he was in the Nick.
Yep.
Netflix is really starting to brand that out. Even with that show that you were telling me about, Wormwood.
Wormwood.
They have a few Netflix actors in it too.
This dude just did another. Give a round of applause real quick. I mean, that is another honorable mention. If we can sig you for a second,
that's you. That's you. I thank you for that. You told
me. Wormwood is a series that came out. It's a lot. If you are a MK Ultra fiend and if you are a conspiracy theory person,
conspiracy.
But what if? It's a conspiracy
theory? Exactly. If you are a conspiracy theory person and you know about MK Ultra, the organization, the project that created Ted Kaczynski, that created a real life supervillain, then Wormwood is a series for you. If you want to know more about this,
if that sentence that our captain just said like short-circuited your brain, then you might not be ready for that. But if you heard what he just said and you had maybe heard some things about, you know what, let me look into that. Watch this.
Indeed. Yeah, it's real. Rachel, and see, I'm telling you, every time I mention these off the beaten path series, Rachel is the reason why. My wife, who is an amazing event coordinator and is an amazing journalist. She's actually the copy editor for our site. She's been in the news business for a long time. And so every one of our articles she takes a look at and helps develop our artists, or not our artists, but our writers.
The player way.
But she has a really good sense for off the beat. I mean, she's the person who literally, out of anybody in our group, Derek, out of anybody, any of our co-captains, she was the first person to say Stranger Things. Before anybody else knew what it was, she was the one. She was like, you need to watch this. Sit down. So Wormwood is one of those series that she said, hey, look at that. You need to watch that for sure. So that's an honorable mention. But going back on over to our number one pick, Bright. Bright is an okay film. It's just mired by, it's weird. It's two sides of the same coin. What's not great about the film is Will Smith, by and large, but you wouldn't be watching it if it wasn't for Will Smith being in it. Mm-hmm. So it's a necessary evil. I will say one thing that would have get that. I will say. I will say what
he is the same Will Smith that was in iRobot. I will say is the exact same character.
What would have made this film a lot more viable and a lot more palatable for Will Smith, and to kind of get him into our brains and thinking that he's that Denzel Washington type from Training Day, is this film should have been more Training Day centered. So like it should have been their first day as partners and talking about what they talked about
so much, but I never got the vibe that this is their
you got this feeling that Will Smith had some sort of accident right before the film started, and they keep alluding to that he's returning to work. So what this film should have been is what got him off the force to begin with and what caused them to be partners. There should have been that buddy cop, more comedy.
They could have I feel what they should have done is started with what led up to like the opening sequence of the movie. Yeah. I'm okay with that being the opening sequence, but they should have hit us with the 6 months prior and then brought us up to speed on the day where he pulls up on the lawn.
And the way this film should have ended when they discover the Bright. So like when they discover the wand and the Brights and all of that, and they introduce these characters and this concept of what Bright is about, because let's be honest, they didn't even start talking about Brights until like close to 30 minutes into the film. Well, like you're like, why is this called Bright?
Yeah, you have to kind of put it together. But it was one of those things where I was okay with having to put it together. However, for a brand new film, brand new market, this type of thing, they needed to at least touch on that. That could have been a perfect backstory.
Absolutely. So it was decent, man. It was a decent film. I think it's definitely passable, and I think it's worth watching. It's definitely worth watching. The Hollywood Reporter released an article today saying that 11 million people watched Bright, despite it being panned by critics
within the first 3 days.
If you put that in perspective of what that would have done in the theater, that would have definitely busted the 1 million mark. I mean, it would. I mean, it might have even it definitely would have busted the 1 million mark, but it might have been busted like the 80 or 90 million as well. Oh yeah, I mean, if just do the math. If let's just go on the low end. Let's do an average between matinee. Let's just say $5 a ticket at 11 million viewers over the weekend. 55 mil. That's 55 million on a movie that they didn't spend that. I don't even think Justice League did that in the first weekend. What did Justice League do in the first weekend? I think it was like 20 mil. It didn't even make 20 mil, I think is what it was. It was like right at 20 mil, I think. On Justice League's opening week? No, Justice League had a pretty good opening weekend. I thought it was like 20. I thought it was like right at 20 mil. Are you looking it up? Yeah, I got you. Cool. That's what's up. But honestly, like I said, if you did the math on this, that's not a bad opening, especially for a thing that was only released. While he's looking that up, if you want a little bit more tips on great films to watch before the end of the year, or as the first of the year starting, if you're young and you're not quite back in school yet, or if you're somebody who is cashing in some of that PTO time at the very beginning of the year, we have not only our top 5 on the previous podcast, but all of our writers did a really cool write-up that was done by Alex Maldonado on playlifeyourway.com, playawaypodcast.com, and you can see what we think are like the top films of the year. Each guy who was a writer on the website gave their number 1 film of the year. So that's another thing there. What you got for me, D? Let's see. Well, this one didn't. This one gave me the whole deal, but it's breaking down the actual budget and how much it lost. I'm not trying to do that. Well, how much did they spend on the film? On Bright or Justice? Bright was 90 million. Oh, Justice? Okay. No. So all right. So let's just go with that. Okay, so Bright spent 90 million. If you can break even in your first weekend, you're doing it the player way, right? So yeah. And Justice League, let's say it's like 100. Its opening weekend, which was like there you go, a third of it budget. You know what I mean? So there you go. I mean, if they did not, let's say $9, which is closer to what it would have been, $9 per person, 11 million. Yeah. That puts you right there at 99 million, just under 100 mil. So that would have done okay in the theater, provided that every person who watched it on Netflix, which they would not have, would have saw it. But let's say only half of those people went and saw it. That's still 50 million. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It is really, and honestly, like you said, the thing that takes away from the movie the most is the thing that would draw you in. However, honestly, as I was watching it, I'm not gonna say I tuned his character out, but I felt like I kind of came up with my own lines for him, or what I felt like he maybe should have said throughout the movie, because everybody else, I felt like their lines made sense, and his just were overly aggressive, overly profane. Like just, I had to work really hard to kind of tune Will Smith's tone out a little bit. I was like, why is he so aggressive and so profane? He has so much energy. He has so much energy in every scene. Yes. So yeah. So anyway, so those are our top 6. Yeah, our top 6 are the Dave Chappelle comedy specials going on Netflix. Number 5, Jumanji. Number 4, Pitch Perfect 3. Number 3, UFC. The UFC event this weekend. Number 2 is I, Tonya, which is going to actually have a wide release for everybody to digest around the 15th of January. And then Bright coming up this weekend. So if you don't have anything to watch to get your 2018 started, then you have definitely not listening to
The Player Way
podcast. That's right, baby. Nice. Anything else you got for the good of the order, B? I'm saying we have a little bit of time left, which reminds me of 9 minutes that could be left in something. Is there anything that you know that there's 9 minutes left in, perhaps? Until the end of the tournament? That's 9 minutes until the end of the Tournament of Power. Oh, yes. And it is down to 2 universes. 2 universes, man. That is definitely another honorable mention I mean, he just keeps coming up with, ladies and gentlemen. How does he do it? He must be some sort of alien robot of some sort.
Autobots, transform.
I'm telling you, man. This dude is definitely giving you all kinds of extra lives here. No, but seriously, man, Dragon Ball Z, the Tournament of Power, is coming to a close. It is. I was one of those people that I was kind of feeling like it was getting long in the tooth, and they are sewing this thing right on up, dude.
Man, though I was so entertained in the last 2 episodes. I didn't think I was going to be, but it really, like, what it reminded me of was, you're gonna have to help me out with the name. However, do you remember a Dragon Ball Z movie where it might have been BoJack Unbound, where he fought that gigantic green monster in East Capsule City, and it was him, Goku, like all the Z fighters, all the
that might be
Z
right.
fighters.
I think that's right, because I remember you were really into BoJack.
It really, and just the cool. That's what you just hit me about. The seeing the quadruple fusion, it really reminded me of that, and it goes back to something that you said, how the movies were never canon in the DB universe. However, they're starting to pull things from these movies and apply them in Dragon Ball Super, and it was almost reminiscent of seeing how the quadruple fusion was eliminated.
Yep, was
almost scene for scene from that movie, and I was just like, they're really doing this thing. They're really doing this thing.
Man,
so
I kind of hate that quadruple fusion bot got eliminated so quickly. Like,
honestly, like, I wanted Jiren to step in. Like, they needed to, like, why is he only focusing on this? He's gonna have to deal with Jiren. Like,
but I did like that they were alluding to the fact that Universe 7 had to work as a team, and I think that's alluding to what's going to end up happening. And you have a theory about what's going to be happening.
Conspiracy
in the last fight.
What if?
I do, and as we've seen, Kakarot attain his Ultra Instinct. His Ultra Instinct is on the defensive side. He doesn't use it on the attack side, and I feel that his Saiyan brother Vegeta is going to be able to attain Ultra Instinct the attack side. Now, the attempted clips that you've seen at the end of the most recent episode, they show Vegeta going all out as Blue against Jiren, which it could be one of those things. As you stated before, Vegeta only went Saiyan when he let go of trying to go Super Saiyan. He tried to let go in an earlier fight for this Ultra Instinct, and it didn't work out because it just wasn't him. So
I think you guys. I think there's something to that.
I
think there's something to that, because in the preview for the next episode, you see, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might have just dreamt this, but I'm almost for certain the preview for the next episode showed Vegeta actually getting in some attacks with Jiren,
landing blows.
Yeah,
landing
Jiren
blows
was kind of
as
like,
Blue.
He was kind of looking at him like, he didn't even move for Kakarot. He didn't even move for Goku. So he kind of kept his arms just like this when Goku was fighting, and so it's one of those things where it's really interesting to see where it's going and where it's headed. And only 9 minutes left in Tournament of Power, only 2 universes. Somebody's getting knocked the fuck out,
man.
The player way.
That's right.
Exactly.
Zeno-sama might be giving you that zoop.
Exactly.
Man,
I think Frieza's gonna kill the rabbit-looking dude and get eliminated because of that.
Well, see, the rabbit guy, his ability, if you remember, is to increase his, but he can increase his speed thousands of times per second. And so he's.
I think what's gonna happen, as we both know in anime, the guy who's extremely fast like that usually ends up fighting some Sabaku Nagata type of guy. He has all kinds of defense.
Yep.
And it's like, you can hit me as hard as you want, but I have ultimate defense and I'm stronger than you. So I think we're going to see Golden Frieza. I think we're going to see Golden Frieza versus the rabbit
guy. Okay.
Going to kill him.
And
I think he's going to kill him and get him.
I kind of wanted 17 to fight him just to see 17 stretch to the max, because he has the energy and the stamina. Because think Topo is arguably just as strong as Kakarot and Vegeta.
Yeah.
But they have, so I feel like Frieza and maybe 17 might take on those guys, and then Goku and Vegeta take on the other ones.
I think Frieza I think the tournament power is going.
Oh yeah, Gohan's in there too. Gohan's gonna
get eliminated, or he's gonna.
Hey, but let's give Gohan some props lately, right? He's done some work.
Gohan is gonna be out. I think Gohan is gonna be out. I think Toppo is obviously gonna get out. The rabbit head looking dude before the end of it. And I think Frieza's going to get eliminated because he killed the rabbit-looking dude. And then I think
the last three standing will be Kakarot, Vegeta, and Jiren.
Yep, that's what I predict.
And then they'll have 17, the Ultra Instinct
17's fusion. That's all. I think 17's going to get knocked out.
And for stuff that's non-canon, they might hit that Gogeta fusion for us at Ultra Instincto.
I don't know, but anyway, that's what's going on there. I'm telling you guys. We gave them a Blitzcast. I mean, we are the premier Blitzcast. Thank you for listening to the Player Way podcast. This was a deep dive, but it turned out to be kind of a full-on Player Way podcast. So you got some bonus. You got a little bit of a bonus situation going on there. So after that, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, with all due respect, I've been your resident DJ BK, helping you curate your media
the Player Way,
along with my co-captain Derek.
That's me, corrupting the system with all those honorable mentions, and I will go ahead and mention me. Me too.
Me too. And if you want a little bit more of that particular me, you can find him corrupting the system, just like you heard it, on Instagram, and take out all of the vowels if you want to catch him on Twitter. Nice. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I'm going to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, that you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, on Google Play, on Spreaker, on any place, on TuneIn, any place where you can find podcast content for free 99. You can find us on there. And do us a favor, on iTunes in particular, give us a 5-star rating if you love our content. Go on there and tell people what's going on. If you want to keep up to date on when our content is coming out, or if you just want a funny meme every now and again, go on our Facebook page, Play Your Way Network. Play Your Way Network, which is the sponsor of the Play Your Way Network, of the Play Your Way podcast, rather. And our sister podcast that we're also helping to plug is Weekly Games Chat. They have an amazing little episode this week that has the top video game music themes of 2017. Chris Locker does the DJing on that, and it is scrumptious.
Oh man!
So
scrumptious. Definitely be sure to check out that website, man. We got some strong writers. We got some new writers. We got some left writers, up down writers, diagonal writers. We got content coming out your ears. New flavor in your ear. Got new flavor in your ear.
Shout out to Jonathan Barron, who is one of our writers who came on this month. Also, shouts out to Johnny, who also came on this month with us as well. So. Lots of writers, as Derek alluded to. Derek is our assignment editor, so he makes sure that we have recruiting and everything. I'm the editor-in-chief to make sure we have everything. And again, my wife, Rachel, she's the copy editor there. So full writing staff. We're going to give you more and more content.
Shout out to that marketing team in Dallas, too.
Hey, shout out to the marketing team.
Boom,
exactly.
Boom, boom.
Pris over there. She is definitely our marketing consultant for the Play Your Way Network.
Man.
And she is responsible for that $100 gift card that got given out, and a couple of $25 gift cards as well. If you did not claim your gift card, listen to the previous thank you episode of the podcast, and it has information on there. I feel like there's too much going on here, dude.
Too much,
I feel
man.
Like
someone's yanking you off stage. Someone's coming in.
Hey, it's time to shut it down. All right, so let's shut it down. We will be back next week. No matter what paths you decide to take or actions you decide to follow, just make sure you're doing that shit
the Player Way.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
We out. And another one.
Thanks for listening to the Player Way podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas.
Man. Let's go ahead and export this audio. Let's see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, if you've been listening to the PWP podcast, we thank you so much. If you watched us live on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're a YouTube fan, we're going to be having some more content coming up. Derek and I are spice fiends, more specifically hot sauce spice and hot pepper fiends. So you may be seeing us do some hot pepper challenges. And definitely by myself, you'll see me doing a lot more as well while everybody else is doing this. I'm full-time doing stuff with the Playway Network, so you can see more stuff going on there. You can expect to see some stuff coming from Derek directly, the Corrupted System Radio. And, yeah, just stay tuned. There's more to see. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.